Now let us begin with 1.3, the co-op of anthems. It means in Marathi Police Prathana Git. So icebreaks support. You have to go on to the place where the winter season is very severe. Discuss with your partner and the way in which you would protect yourself in the cold climate. Way to protect or cold climate. Wear the cloth warms in the layers. Keep moving around. Wear gloves, thick socks and mufflers and boots, etc. Drinking a lot of fluids, taking shelters in the warm place and sitting near the fireplace. That's what you have to be do by in that particular place. When you will be approaching, you feel either you relieved or scared. Discuss with your partner situated when you feel relieved and scared. पोलीस तुमच्याकडे येताना पाहून तुम्हाला निर्धास्त वाटते आणि तुम्ही घाबरता. तुमच्या सहकार्याची चर्चा करा आणि तुम्ही निर्धास्त किंवा असतात की घाबरतात याचा प्रसंग सांगा. So we are talking about the dark street relieved. There is the fleet taking the place near you. The group of road and looking people are coming towards you on the lonely road. Scared. You are riding the bike without your driving license and you have to broken traffic signals. You have to be involved in a fight. That's the relieved and scared position. Discuss the sum of motivational things that you can be. Personal life. One is given. Listen and inspiring speech. Reading motivational books and biographical of great people. Reading epics and religious books. Observing successful happy people or watching biopics on their lives. Introduction of these particular writers: O. Henry, 1862-1910. William Sidney Porter, the American writer, is better known for his name. His pen name is O. Henry. He was the various readers in his childhood. He started humorously weekly, the Rolling Stones and the Welcher failure. He joined the Houston Post as the reporter and columnist and occasional cartoonist. So that man known as O. Henry and whose name is William Sidney Porter and that became American writer. He has to be in childhood he read the many books and started humorously weekend. He also joined Houston Post as the reporter, columnist, and occasional cartoonist. The story, the cop of Anthem, is one of the Henry's well-known story. That lesson become a story. To describe his style writing, people have them smile with tear, with implied his twisted way thought ending almost every story. So this is the stories and that has the term smile with tear and twisted in the thought appending almost every story. In this story's main character is Soapy. He is vagabond and a person with a criminal background. He makes different plans to re-enter the prisons. As he has no shelter, protect himself from the severe winter. That is the main theme of this lesson. The story end is an unexpected way. O. Henry has depicted Sophie's fulfilled attempts to get arrested. The story ends in unexpected ways. O. Henry has depicted Sophie's fulfilled attempt to arrested in the humorous vein. So he has in the story unexpected way. He has to be arrested in that humorous vein. The cops are painting about the freedom and confinement. Initially, Sophie feels that there is a freedom, misery, and worries. Freedom became misery and worries. In confinement prison, the note of the anthem transported him to within. He resolved to work hard. Sophie faces the irony in fate as the moment he realized that real freedom lies various life is taken into the confinement means jail. So now this is our lesson we discuss here. Sophie left his bench and strolled out of the square and across the level of sea asphalt where the Broadway and Fifth Avenue flow together. Up Broadway he turns and stopped at the luxurious cafe. So he had to be stood up, that's Sophie, and he has to be crossing the roads and Broadways, and he had to be gathered in a venue. And that particular that place, Broadway's is turned, and that became the cafe, and he has to be waited in that riches cafe. सोफी बाकावरून उठला आणि रंगत मंगत डांबरे सण ओलांडून ब्रॉडवे आणि 5व्या अव्हेन्यू एकत्र आला. या चौकाच्या बाहेरून पडला आणि ब्रॉडवेकडून वरच्या दिशेने तो वळला आणि एका महागड्या कॅफेपाशी तो थांबला. Sophie had confidence in himself from the lowest button of his vest upward. He was shaven at his coat and trimmed his neck. Black bows had been presented to him by the lady missionary on Thanksgiving days. If only he could reach the table in the restaurant unsuspected, success would be his. The portion of him that would show about the table would rise no doubt in the waiter's mind. He roasted mallard duck, thought Sophie's would be about the thing that the bottle of wine and then some cheese, a cup of coffee and cigar. $1 for the cigar would be enough. The total would not be so high as call forth any extreme revenge from the cafe management, and yet the meat would be leave him filled happy journey to winter islands. So now Sophie became confidence of his from lowest to upper button of his coat, and that time he has to be saved, and he weld his coat on that particular. He has to be visited in that Thanksgiving that particular missionaries, and that man has to be made and uses the bow on his particular places. And waiter question Millard duck he has to be Soapy, and bottle wines and cheese he has to be eaten on that. And he thought that the $1 for cigar that became enough, and that is the revenge to cafe manager, and that is helpful for filled the happy journey to winter Iceland. सोपीला आपल्या कोटाच्या सर्वात खालच्या बटनापासून वरच्यापर्यंत स्वतःचा आत्मविश्वास होता. त्याने दाढी वगैरे केलेली होती, त्याच्यात कोटी ठीकठाक केला, आणि थँक्स गिविंगच्या त्या दिवशी एका मिशनरी स्त्रीने भेट देणे एक छान काळा बो त्याने लावला होता. कोणतीही शंका न येणाऱ्या रेस्टॉरंटमधली एखाद्या टेबलापर्यंत त्याला पोचता आले तर यश नक्की झाले असणार होते. टेबलाच्या वरच्या दिसणाऱ्या त्या शरीराचा भाग पाहून वेटरच्या मनात शंका आली नसती. मेलाड बदकाचे मांस, वाईनची बॉटल, थोडे चीज, एक कॉफी, सिगार. सोपीने मनातल्या मनात विचार करून ठेवला, सिगारचा $1 ठीक आहे. या सगळ्याची एकूण किंमत कॅफे मालकाला संताप काही करेल एवढी जास्त नव्हती, पण हिवाळी बोटावर पोहोचेपर्यंत तेवढे मांस पोटभर अन्न तृप्त करील तेवढे त्याने होते असं त्याला वाटत होतं. But Sophie he stood inside the restaurant door. The head waiter's eyes fell upon his tattered trouser and decayed shoes. strong and ready hand turned him about the convey him to silent and hasty to sidewalk and awaited ignorant fate and menace Millard. He has to be waited in restaurant door. The waiter has to be taught his trousers and decent shoes, older that all, strong ready to hand turned, and he conveys to him silent and hasty, silent walk and ignorant fate Millard. तर रेस्टॉरंटच्या दरवाजात सोफीने पाय ठेवताच मुख्य वेटरची नजर त्याच्या फाटक्या विजारीवरती आणि जीर्ण झालेल्या बुटावरती पडली. आपल्याला भक्कम आणि मान हातांची आणि त्याने सोफीने मागे वळवले आणि हळूच त्याला बाहेर घाईघाईने रस्त्यावर बाजूला नेले. त्यामुळे मेलार्ड बचताचा नशिबातील लाजिरवाणा धोका टळला. At the corner of Sophie turned off the broad way, and seemed to that his route in Convert Islands was not to be an easy one. Same other way entering the Libo must be divide. तर सोफीच्या विरुद्ध दिशेने आवडत्या बेटाकडे सोपा मार्ग होता आणि लक्षात आले तुरुंगात शोधण्याची एक त्यांनी युक्ती आवश्यक आहे. At the corner of Sixth Avenue, electric light and cunning displays were behind the plate glass made the window attractive. Sophie took the stone and dashes it through the glass. People come running round and corner. Policeman in the road led. Sophie stood still with his hand in his pocket. He smiled in the side of brass button. The six corner averting electric light and cunning displayed where the bed made and attractive. Sophie has to be dashed and people can running round the corner and still pocket has smiled brass buttons. तर 6व्या अव्हेन्यूच्या कोपऱ्यात काचेपलीकडील विजेच्या दिव्याखाली कुशलतेने मांडून ठेवलेल्या वस्तूंमध्ये दुकानाची खिडकी फार आकर्षक दिसली. सोफीने एक दगड उचलला आणि काचेवर फेकून मारला. तर कोपऱ्यावरील लोक धावत आले आणि सर्वात पुढे पोलीस. सोफी खिशात हात घालून तिथे स्थिर उभा राहिला आणि पितळी बटणे दिसताच पोलीस हसला. Where the man that done that? inquired the officer agitatedly. Don't you know things that might have had something to do with, said Sophie's unfriendly voice, and great good fortunes. The police has to be inquired that. Where is that man has to be throw the stone on glass? Has to be inquired in agitatedly in troubled manner. So that time, do you think that might have had something with that, Sophie? And Sophie has friendly voice, and that too fortunately, police had not to be arguing on that particular person. तर तो माणूस कुठे आहे असे चिडून विचारले. माझा त्याच्याशी काही संबंध असेल तुम्हाला वाटत नाही? जमी त्या सुदैवाने स्वागत करावे असं मैत्रीच्या स्वरूपात सोफीने विचारले. त्यामुळे पोलिसाला पकडत नव्हतं. सोफीला वाटलं आपण आता हिवाळ्याच्या दिवसात आपलं घर नाही काही नाही, आपलं प्रोटेक्शनसाठी आपण पोलीस स्टेशनमध्ये राहावं आणि तिथलंच अन्न खावं. पण एवढी सुद्धा चूक करून पोलिसाला पकडत नव्हते. Police refuse to accept the Sophie even the clue. The men who smashed the window do not remain on the chat with the police. They take their heels, and policemen saw the man halfway and down the block running catch the car. We drowned the cups and joined the pursuit, and Sophie discussed his heart and defeated along twice unsuccessful. So police refused to accept the Sophie's because he smashes the window that not remain with the police chat. They have to be run away from that, and we down club joined pursued the Sophie discuss and the twice unsuccessful. तो पोलीस सोफी आणि संशयी म्हणून सुद्धा मानायला तयार नव्हता. खिडकी फोडणारा माणूस गप्पा मारत उभी राहणार नाही. धूम ठोकन ब्लॉकच्या अर्ध्या रस्त्यापुढे गाडी पकडण्यासाठी पळत नेणारा एक माणूस पोलीस दिसला. त्यांनी काठी उगारून पाठीमागे धावला. दोनदा अपयशी झालेल्या सोफीच्या मनात चळवळ पुढे चालायला लागला. सो इन दॅट पर्टिक्युलर लेसन्स सोफी was afraid that wouldn't be able to enter the prison because सोफीला जाऊ शकणार भीती वाटत. It seemed the route the convenience line, not the easy one. Some other way entering the limbo must be diverted. Give your opinion reason. Sophie's desire to enter the prison. सोफीच्या तुरुंगात जाण्याची तीव्र इच्छेविषयी तुमचे मत. I find it is a stranger that person actually wants to enter whatever the reason. At least what I know, prisons are very terrible place in that difficult in time. Sophie was obviously to prison before, probably enjoyed the free fruits and protect from the winters that he get there. Sophie wanted to enter the cafe for two reasons. सोफीला दोन कारणांच्या कॅफेमध्ये म्हणजे कॅफेमध्ये जायचं होतं. Toasters Maladies and wanted about 3 bottles wines and some cheeses and cup of the coffee cigars. The meal would be second, filled with happy journey winter islands. So now, that is the remaining part of the lesson we discuss afterwards. Thank you.